President Trump has some dramatic new talking points on his manufactured crisis at the border, like human traffickers gagging women with tape as they drive them across the border illegally. And if that sounds like something you see in a movie, well, maybe it is. CNN's Miguel Marquez explains.
Sicario, Day of the Soldado. The 2018 sequel starring Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin is a dark and violent take on the U.S.-Mexico border, Middle Eastern terrorists, drug cartels, and U.S. government efforts to disrupt them. It's fiction, right? There are prayer rugs in the film. The president tweeted about prayer rugs found on the border from a story in the conservative Washington Examiner, which quotes an anonymous New Mexico rancher who had no evidence of the prayer rugs. The film also features terrorists who paid drug cartels to bring them into the country. Something else on the president's mind.
People are pouring into our country, including terrorists. We have terrorists. We caught 10 terrorists over the last very short period of time. 10. These are very serious people.
That claim appears to be the president accidentally or willfully misunderstanding a Customs and Border Patrol statistic that 10 suspected terrorists on average are blocked every day from entering the U.S., mostly by flying, at locations worldwide. And then there's duct tape. The president has that on his mind, too.
They nab women, they grab them, they put tape over their mouth, they tie their hands. They have tape over their mouths, electrical tape, usually blue tape, as they call it.
10 times this month alone, counted the Washington Post.
Tying up women, putting tape in their mouth.
They tie up women, taping them up. Women are tied up, they're bound. They have women in the backseat of the cars with duct tape all over the place.
The president claimed women are duct tape shoved into vehicles driven across the border and sold. Those who work every day trying to protect vulnerable immigrants from sexual exploitation say duct tape isn't a thing.
We have a database of 1,435 indictments, and we went through all the indictments, and we found 26 cases that involved kidnapping. We did a search on duct tape, and we found one case of 1,435 cases that mentioned duct tape.
And that case was an American, not a migrant. In looking at all federal trafficking cases, most victims are U.S. citizens. Only about a third of trafficking cases are foreign nationals, and the vast majority of them enter the U.S. with legal visas. No duct tape.
What Donald Trump is missing with this sort of fictional account, Hollywood version of human trafficking, is the dire cases that do exist in the United States, including cases of forced labor and forced prostitution.
One incoming on your right.
There I see nothing.
Contact right.
I didn't see anything. Oh, down.
One other highly dramatic possible Hollywood fascination the president has: those coming across the border have better cars and equipment than U.S. law enforcement.
They have the best vehicles you can buy. They have stronger, bigger, and faster vehicles than our police have, and than ICE has, and than Border Patrol has.
It doesn't exactly fit the second Sicario film. CNN and many news agencies have asked the White House and relevant agencies about the president's claims on prayer rugs, fast cars, and duct tape.
Budgets and other reasons.
None
but
have
we're
responded.
Now, one more odd twist in all of this. The Washington Post ran a story detailing the president's repeated use of women being gagged in duct tape on January 17th. The news site Vox now has seen an email, a so-called request for information from a top Border Patrol official, asking field offices around that time for claims, quote, that traffickers tie up and silence women with tape before illegally driving them through the desert from Mexico to the United States in the backs of cars and windowless vans, unquote. So 2 weeks after the president started talking about duct tape women, his own administration appears to be trying to come up with the facts to support what the president has been saying for 2 weeks. So far, no agency has come up with any of those facts.
Which happens often with this presidency. People in the administration go to try to correct what he has said and see if there's actual evidence of it.
Art imitating life, imitating art, imitating maybe not very good art.
So where do the president's talking points come from, and why do they sound so much like a Hollywood movie? Let's discuss now. Anna Navarro, Scott Jennings. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So Anna, the president has latched onto these unfounded claims of unbelievable, amazing cars and duct tape women. Let's listen to a little more.
Women are tied up, they're bound, duct tape put around their faces, around their mouths. In many cases, they can't even breathe.
having 3 and 4 women with tape on their mouths and tied up, sitting in the back of a van or a car, taping them up, wrapping tape around their mouths so they can't shout or scream, tying up their hands behind their back and even their legs.
Usually blue tape, as they call it. It's powerful stuff, not good.
Okay, so the White House has given no explanation as to where the president got this from. Is he confusing a fictional movie plot with actual border security issues?
I think he's lying. Look, Don, I've told you before, I know a little something about men. After their voice cracks, you're not going to change them. Donald Trump has been lying his entire life. This guy lied about the draft. This guy lied about how much he's worth. This guy lied about what kind of money he got from his father. This guy had pseudonyms. He would call and lie about himself as John Barron and John Miller. He has been lying his entire life. And he consumes an enormous amount of TV. So I think it's both things coming together. His pathological lying, he is like that John Lovitz character in Saturday Night Live, the pathological liar on the news update, the weekend news update. That is the president of the United States, and he's gotten away with it his entire life. He's not used to the level of scrutiny that comes with being president.
Scott, you saw Miguel's story that just ran. There was a scene in a movie where agents find prayer rugs. The president's tweeted about, exactly that just a couple of weeks ago. Is this just more scare tactics designed to frighten people into siding with him? What is going on here?
I don't know, because I think the problems on the southern border that actually exist are a good enough story to sell the case for more border security. I mean, we do have a massive problem with illegal drugs coming in from Mexico. There is a human trafficking problem, as our story said tonight. There are places where the fence is old and dilapidated and needs to be repaired, and folks can go underneath it. So this is a case where the actual facts of a problem on the southern border are probably enough to sell a very good political position. There's no need to stretch the truth, which then calls into question the credibility of your entire argument. So I would respectfully submit here, stick to the facts, because the facts tell a great story and might help you make your case as you try to strike a deal with Congress on border security.
But we've been asking, why
I actually agree with Scott on this. Don, I think what they should go do is they should go read the transcripts of the El Chapo trial that is going on right now. It tells us exactly how it is that drugs come in through the border into the United States, most of the time through legal ports of entry. But if you really want to focus on addressing the problem and trying to find a solution for the problem, looking at the blueprint and looking at what these witnesses are telling you in this trial going on today would be a pretty good place to start, instead of Hollywood fiction being shown on Netflix.
Okay, but let me say, the Washington Post reached out to border personnel, women who had been trafficked in immigration organizations. They were unable to find a single example of what the president was talking about. And then after the Post questioned Trump's claim of tape gagging women, Vox reported that an assistant Border Patrol chief sent an email to Agent Scott asking if they had any information that the claim was actually true. Vox's source said that the officers in their sector heard nothing to back up the claim, and the administration has given no evidence. So you say stick to the... So why not do that then? Why go to these lengths?
I don't know. I wonder if it's because there was frustration over the failure to make a deal that caused the long shutdown, and now they feel like they need to press the case a little bit more. But again, the administration has good facts, and a significant chunk of the American people already agrees with the president. We do need more border security. The Border Patrol guys say we need more barriers. There are illegal drug issues at both legal ports of entry and about 20% of the problem not at legal ports of entry. So again, you could sit here all night and make a really strong argument, and your Border Patrol guys would be able to back you up with evidence, actual facts, stuff that's really happening. So there's a case to be made, but you hurt your credibility when you throw things in that may not be, part of the reality of what's actually going on. So again, there's a win to be had here, but you hurt yourself if you don't stick to the real stuff. And I got to go. I'll give you the last word.
They should listen to Scott Jennings. Listen, the reason that they have to bend themselves into all sorts of pretzel shapes to back up what this pathological lying president is saying is because it is a requirement of the job. Working for Donald Trump requires lying for Donald Trump.
Yeah. Wow. No Republican on Republican crime tonight. Thank you both. An agreement. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Don.